welcome back to the SuperCoach Premium Show. Back again with a full panel of SCP experts. And I'm Paige, and the guys to my left and right, I guess you already know, but you guys can introduce yourselves.
I'm Matt.
I'm Damon.
And I'm Mick.
Matt Damon. Yeah, it's so good, it never gets old. Anyway, we are here today to have a chat to you about the midfielders of SuperCoach 2015, and this year we've got an extra midfielder thanks to the changes in SuperCoach, and that's great because it means we can load up on a few more rookies and make some important cash. And obviously we've lost that fourth ruck spot, which really doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
No, really actually doesn't.
Does that ever get used?
No, I don't.
Maybe by you with J-Mar, but that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, bang! Look at that.
Boom.
Shots fired.
Straight into it.
That's why you lost last season.
No, it's different this year.
Yeah, it's a new year. Everyone, doesn't matter what happened last
slate.
year. It's
Clean slate.
But moving on, we're going to have a look at the midfielders that each of us panelists have thought are must-starts for our team. So this is a really great indication for you guys at home to see who we're picking and who we're rating for our midfield spots this year, and to get an indication of what we're doing and perhaps what you can do as well. So I think, Damon, you're going to kick us off with a very interesting player to start off the must-have premiums with.
Yes, he's one player who I describe as an absolute jet, Joycey.
Don't look at me like that.
He goes by the name of Rory Sloane. He's priced at $616,900, and his average last year was 114. So he's one player that certainly goes under the radar, and he's one player that I've been eyeing off in seasons past, but haven't really had the guts to choose him.
And now it's your turn.
Now it's my turn because, well, first of all, absolute jet. Second of all, he's a great point of difference because he is overshadowed by the likes
got great hair.
And great hair as well.
Great hair.
What do they call him? Batman.
Batman.
Yeah.
Don't know why they
Not
call
as
him
good as
Batman.
Mick. Mick's hair's pretty good.
Mick's
Yeah.
rocking a pretty good dude.
I've what Head and Shoulders. That's what
Okay, righto.
Nice little
had a bit of
slick
dandruff.
back.
That's why.
Daddy life, anyway.
Yeah, so absolute jet, point of difference, and the fact that over his past 3 seasons, he's averaged 114, 107 and 105, so great average there, and a very consistent performance throughout last year as well. He's managed to reach the century mark on a staggering 19 occasions.
Huge.
And only once produced a score of less than 80.
So that's consistency at its finest. And he would be floating heavily under the radar of many coaches, particularly when it comes to picking your must-start midfielders.
You'd think that maybe he might escape a few tags here and there, with the likes of Dangerfield still there, until he perhaps goes to a different club next season, but that's a different story. But he also excels at the hard contests as well, and he attracts an average of 12.5 contested possessions per game and recorded 18 games in which he laid 5 tackles or more. So, fantastic player for mine. Point of difference, I'm on him.
And now another guy that's on the comeback trail, who is absolutely lighting up the training track at Arden Street.
He is Andrew Swallow.
Spitter.
Yes, Spitter. And yes, he don't put me off.
Come on.
Yes.
Sure.
Straight face. Yes, he's priced at $500,600. Average last year of 93.13, which is slightly down upon his averages in seasons past. He did come back
from an Achilles injury,
but
didn't he?
yes, over the past 4 seasons, he is averaging 101, 109, 111 and 106. So he's right up there. And for that price, I reckon he's priced around someone who's averaging, high 80s, low 90s. So fantastic value. And, if you've got any worries about someone that's coming back from that sort of injury, an Achilles injury, just got to look at Jared Ruffhead.
Oh,
he's just absolutely excelled in his comeback. So he's one player that I'm on, definitely. And he's a juicy prospect, Mick.
Juicy.
Tasty.
Just don't look at Roughhead too closely, though.
And anyway.
That face is a bit rough.
But I think Joyce has been all over this guy, and I'm completely off this man forever until he changes me wrong.
It's not Higgins.
It's good. I know, but you know what? It may as bloody well be after last year. I think the rest of the SuperCoach world is going to agree with me.
No.
Who are you talking about?
They listen to me.
No.
We're in bar 94. We're in Richmond, so you got to pick the Richmond captain.
No, you
Trent
don't.
Hutchin. Yes, you do.
Don't do it.
He's only 5'46", 500. He averaged 101.6, so still doing reasonably well, considering he copped an injury in round 3 and round 9.
And he did carry an injury for a bit, I will say that.
And at the start of the year, there was no Rance, Delidio or Marriage, so he didn't have very good service in the midfield stoppages there. You had to rely on Sean
Okay, you're doing a bit better now, okay.
What's that saying, though, that the best players don't rely on others. They rely.
Gary Ablett's a bit like that.
Ablett.
Scott
Yeah, I
Pennebury,
mean,
Nat
you know,
5.
Yeah, but you rely on bullshit luck to get your good SuperCoach.
Another shot fired. This is going to keep going.
Interesting. Somebody
There's a bit of hostility across the bar here.
But even with
Carry
all
on.
the adversity that Cochin came up against,
Adversity.
he still got 168 during the year. He still got 133. Still got 130. So he is capable of those really high ceilings, even when he is carrying an injury. And with players like, Delidio having a good preseason, Maric having a good preseason, Rance is having a really good preseason.
Martin's having a good season.
Martin's having a fantastic preseason. And he's still quite young as well, so he's got the capabilities of improving on his score, even replicating his 2012 year where he should have won the Brownlow.
Don't go into that.
No, he could definitely do that. So, from what I've seen when I visited training at Punt Road as well, it looks
eyewitness accounts.
I know, right? He's gained another yard of pace.
Oh,
So.
another
Sure hasn't got his.
pace.
Sure hasn't got his tiger
My Tiger hat.
beanie
I
on.
know.
Yeah. But enough
Right.
about Cochin, because the next man is the one that I locked in first in SuperCoach, and
This-
I hate
Ablett.
It's
Has to
great
be
that you
Ablett.
said
No.
locked in.
5?
You
No.
should have said locked up.
No, not locked up.
Locked up?
Because I hate telling these three
Locked up?
plebs about it, because
Locked
they're going to
up.
steal my idea,
Yeah,
and
righto.
I'm really just telling you guys about it. Toby Green is the must-have
I do like
of
it.
2015.
Definitely locked up in your side then.
He's
Don't
locked
hit me.
up in my
Don't hit me.
Don't.
He's 5'30", 5'53", 300.
Is that in centimetres, is it? Like
No,
five
no,
foot
unfortunately
three?
not.
No? Okay.
His average is 101.8. So you'd think, that average is kind of, lousy. You remember he had a really good debut year in 2012. They changed his role for whatever reason, probably to teach him some defensive skills, because let's be honest, he's not all that defensively minded. So in his second year, he got like a 75 average. And in the first half of 2014, he was kind of mirroring that, maybe getting an 85 average. But when he came back after his suspension, his average jumped to 126 over the
Whoa,
past,
huge numbers.
I think it was 8 or 9 games at the end of the season. So for a price of,
Was that before or after he got suspended for beating
That
the
was
living
after.
daylights on?
That was
Okay, right. Okay.
Just so
sorry.
you know.
Just wanted to clarify
Okay,
that.
sure. And you've got a whole Giants side that are getting another year older. You've seen Treloar's a gun, Shields a gun, Whitfield's a gun. So they're going to get a lot of attention.
We've
And
added Griffin.
added Griffin, and someone like your Toby Green will go under the radar, and he'll keep getting these scores. So he was my first pick, and he should be yours too.
I like it. Well, talking about first picks, it does not come more clear cut than this guy. I don't care what anybody says. Gary Ablett. If you haven't got him, you're not doing SuperCoach right. I'm sorry, I'm putting it out there. I'm speaking to you, Joyce. You
I've
did it
got him
last
this year.
Oh, you do? You've got him this year?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've learnt your lesson there.
First time in about 10 years.
He
He's gonna
does
get
start at $734,000, and that's almost 10% of your salary cap on one singular player. Now, for those of you who have been paying attention to the Herald Sun Super Footy website, you'll have noticed that I published an article on there regarding whether or not we should be picking Gaz this year. And if you've been living under a rock, yes, you should. I'm going to go through a couple of reasons. In fact, I'm going to reel these off really quickly.
Bit of a head wobble there, by the way.
He has righto. He has sustained at least 128-point average for the past 7 years. 4 of those which have been over 130-point averages for the year. Okay. Second point. Since 2006, 80% of Ablett's 177 games have resulted in at least 100 SuperCoach points or more. And there's no other player in the competition that comes close to that statistic. Ablett has also averaged 130 points in his opening 5 games dating back to 2007. So if you're looking to break open really quickly in the SuperCoach season, having Ablett early on to average that huge score is definitely what you're going to need. I mean, that's just monumental. Again, no one comes close to that. Couple more. He's scored at least 100 points in 110 out of 134 games in the past 7 years, which is an average of 133. I don't know how much more convincing I've got to do, but he is also a captain lock. And if you had him for the first 9 weeks of the season last year, he did not dip below 127 points in the opening 9 rounds. So you're talking about scores in excess of between 125. So remember when he had 172, I believe, in round 8, and he went bonkers. So you're talking about a player you can lock in each week. I mean, you have to have him. Starting without him, regardless of his shoulder injury or not, is just rubbish. if you don't start with him, you're going to start 2 trades effectively behind the rest of the competition, because you will have to trade him in at one point. It doesn't matter whether you start with him, you got him anyway, but if you don't, you have to trade him in somehow. You're wasting trades, you're wasting a lot of money. You might even have to pull out one of those pesky sideways trades, which nobody likes. But look, even if he does drop in price massively, or you wouldn't trade him anyway, but if he does cop that injury again, worst thing is you trade him out, you can afford anyone. So there's no real big loss. You have to have him. But another player as well, Champion Data have ranked this guy, this beautiful specimen of a man, at, thank you, as SuperCoach's most consistent player. It is Mr. Scott Dependlebury, is like I refer to him as. He is 668 grand this year and averaged 124 last year. Huge numbers. Now, Pendles has been averaging over 120 SuperCoach points for the last 4 years now. And since his 3rd year in the AFL, he actually hasn't dipped below the 100 mark. He actually hasn't missed in the, I think, dating back to his first year, he's only missed 6 or 8 games in total. So you're talking about a player who's hugely durable. He's never been suspended. He's never gone up before the MRP. You've got no issues with him whatsoever there.
He fractured his leg in the past 2 years, didn't he? And he only missed a couple of
Exactly.
games.
So you're talking about like the Bionicle Man or something like that. But look, he is just huge. You know what you're going to get with Pendles. And I think this year, and I'm going to pop it out there, this is probably his best year in terms of really looking to win a Brownlow. I know that's a bit far ahead, but
So.
with Beams gone, there's a lot of ball for him, and he's untaggable, so you don't have to worry about those thinking, oh, Beams is gone, how's that going to affect Pendlebury? Swan comes back into the side, hopefully a little bit more fitter than what he was last year. I think Pendlebury is just going to be as effective, if not better, this year. That's probably a big statement, but if you're not thinking about starting with Gaz, shame on you. You should definitely be starting with Pendles. That is a non-negotiable this year.
Don't point at me.
No, we're going to shame you, that's it.
No, really quickly, before we move on, it's not that I don't think Gaz is a fantastic player.
You just want to save cash and be really cheap.
Yeah,
you are
I'm
a
the
cheap
next super
super
cheap
cheap.
behind
You are.
Goldstein.
You really are.
No, I keep thinking if he averages even 120 over 5 games, then I'm going to make 80 grand off that. So I don't know. I'm starting with him anyway.
You just shut up and start with him. That's just the simplest advice I can give you. But enough about that. There is a couple of new rules in the AFL that is going to favour this guy, and particularly the MRP is going to be a welcome addition to this midfielder.
Yeah, well, you guys are talking about Gary Adler, Scott Pendlebury, talking those guys up, Toby Stupid Green. But one guy who has to be a certain starter, and like talking about Brownlow medal hopes and like this guy Nat Fyfe
Came second, actually.
Yeah.
He's a magical man.
If he doesn't win a Brownlow in his career, I will. There we go. I will eat my chocolate hat.
Oh,
that's
it's made a return.
official right there. And
It's back.
I will even go as far as to say, if he doesn't win it this year, I will eat my chocolate hat.
Oh. Okay, you've
Make
heard
one
it
up.
here first.
Carly.
Carly
Set
Ash,
the oven.
sort it out.
Yeah. All right. Well, he's not not only freakishly talented, right, and he appears to be very humble about it. I think he's from the country, isn't he?
He's
If I recall.
Jeez.
WA, country WA.
WA country, yeah. So he's very, they breed him humble.
Hey, bring him humble. Thanks. Let's get on to a SuperCoach.
But he also scores consistently well in SuperCoach,
Top bloke.
which is great. Now look, let's
He's
crack
got
out.
nice hair as well.
He had a bit of a patch during the middle of the season where he got injured and he had a few games out. But after that, he went bang, 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 100 plus. I think every round but one. I think 100 plus, and at the end of the season, his average against opponents, right? Well, this is actually over his entire career. His average against opponents are all above 100, except, funnily enough, St Kilda, where it's 93. So St Kilda apparently have taggers who can take him. So, that is his only downside. So
Don't pick him when he's playing St Kilda.
take Ablett off your bench that week, put him in instead of Fyfe. Easy fix.
Sorted. That's great SuperCoach advice.
Yeah,
Have
and
it
look,
on your bench. I like
some
it.
other great SuperCoach advice is to get on to a guy, and we spoke about him a little bit earlier, Ryan Griffin.
Ooh, do we get on to him?
Dun, dun,
Look,
dun.
he is a
Shittest
risk,
bloke
but you have
ever.
to take risks, don't you, in life and in SuperCoach.
Risks like get your coach sacked and
Yeah, well, he's
run out your
that fun
CEO
stuff.
and
More about
Whatever,
SuperCoach, Paige.
Sorry.
He's sitting at $530,700 Australian, and his 2014 average was 98.74. So, you know, yes, under 100 for an elite midfielder, you know, even for a captain, but we all know his problems with the coach and blah, 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 and his back.
Yeah.
And blah, blah, blah. But he is, look, take nothing away, he's a champion player. He's proven that in seasons past, and I think he can get back to his previous form this year.
But,
Yes,
and the
Paige?
big but, now apparently there was a bit of news floating around that perhaps the GWS Giants didn't do enough due diligence and didn't put him through a medical when they decided to make the trade and pull the pin for, you know, Griffin effectively for Boyd. So what we're hearing and what has been floating around is that Griffin's back is still no good. So if you've got him in your side at the moment, you may want to reconsider until we see a little bit more from his pre-season before really committing to him, I reckon.
Yeah, nah, screw it, just get him.
Do what he said.
Cool.
Yep, that pretty much wraps us
Great.
up, doesn't
It
it?
would.
Let's wrap us up.
Next mini episode.
It would. We're going to be back next with the forward players, so that'll be a lot of fun. There's a lot of new guys in that position this year. So, again, thank you very much to Bar 94, being more than generous once again. Let us into their bar and let us film. So we'll see you next week. We've been the SuperCoach Premiums. Hope you guys are on your side.